Hello, we're here with Joe Gits. He is the CEO of Social Market Analytics. Joe, can you please tell us about Social Market Analytics?
Social market analytics basically takes the intentions of professional investors and turns it into quantitative signals for traders, portfolio managers, and money managers. We do that as an input from Twitter. So we're listening to the Twitter feed, and we're taking those 400 million tweets a day and converting that into actionable intelligence. And the end result is a data feed on 8,000 securities every minute.
Wow. And what drove you to start this?
I have always been in the entrepreneurial space. So I've worked for 3 different startups, and they've all been data and analytics for the capital market space. I sold my last startup to Thomson Reuters about 6 years ago, and I ran the quant group there. In the last year or so that I was there, I didn't go to a meeting with a buy-side firm where they didn't ask about social media. They knew it was beating to the market. They knew they were getting burned occasionally because they were missing out on social media. And they were saying, Joe, how do you quantify this? How can I get this as an input into my trading system? Or how can I take the vast and different opinions from Twitter and turn into something that I can use?
And Joe, can you give us an idea of the products that you provide?
Yeah, so the base product is a data feed of 7 different metrics based on Twitter input. That data feed can be parsed in a number of delivery platforms. So if you're an individual investor and you want to get a flash report, so pre-market open, tell me the stocks that are most positively active in social media, negatively active in social media, we can make that available. We can provide various custom analytics. So if you want to upload your own portfolio, we can do that and give you sentiment scores on your own portfolio. We also have various real-time screenings. These are for the individual investors. And then for the buy-side firms, the quants, the hedge funds of the world, we have a data feed. And so it's a real-time sentiment data feed that basically takes all of those 400 million tweets and converts it into a signal that traders can use.
Great. And can you tell us about SFactors and how they're determined?
Yeah, so SFactors is a family of metrics that we use to give you that signature or that fingerprint of what's happening in social media. And the idea behind the products that we offer is that it's not the level of sentiment that is critically important. It's where you are on that standard deviation curve. So imagine in your mind there's a standard normal distribution, so a bell curve if you're a statistics person. And what we do is we calculate a baseline value of sentiment for each security. So for example, if you just looked at raw sentiment, it'd be Apple, Google, and Facebook, number 1, 2, and 3 every day. That doesn't tell a trader anything that they can use for making trading decisions. Our SFactors basically normalize that data and turn it into that normal distribution. So an S score of 2 means that people are talking about that particular security 2 standard deviations more positive than normal. If it's a negative 2 standard deviations more negative than normal. So they're deviating from that baseline, and that's where you find your derived alpha. That's where you find your prediction power, both in terms of changes in implied volatility as well as direction.
Great. And now with the rise of social media and using analytics, what do you see for the future of social media?
Well, social media is a huge term. So there is obviously Facebook, there's Twitter, there are a number of other sources that are providing inputs into the social media big paradigm. Twitter is turning into a means of business communication. So when they first launched, I don't think they quite knew how their product was going to be used. And it started off as teenage kids trying to decide where they're going for lunch, just as an example. Now you see tweets like all the execs I talk to at Whole Foods say this, and this about same store sales. And so it's a way that businesses, traders, portfolio managers, and just CEOs are communicating with their customers and shareholders. I don't see that going away. I think it'd be ubiquitous to email in the not too distant future. When I started in this business, people were generating quarterly fundamental statements, paper books that were sent out. And then they moved up to monthly and daily reports, and then they moved up to daily earnings estimates, and then it was intraday earnings estimates. This is just really increasing communication. I mean, it's a democratization of information, and Twitter is one of the best in the world at that. Now, there'll probably be other social media sources that come on, and when that happens, we're gonna pick those up as well. But I think in the next 6 to 8 months, you're gonna see 1 billion tweets a day. No problem at all.
Great. And Joe, I have one last question for you.
Well,
Tell us your plans for social market analytics in the next year.
Yeah, so we have the initial data feed product built that's out there. It's generating revenue. People are really finding alpha in that data. We're going to be adding other countries. Right now it's purely North America, specifically U.S. We're going to be adding non-U.S. English-speaking countries. So we're going to be adding Canada, U.K., Australia to that product mix. We're going to be adding other asset classes. We get a ton of requests for currencies and commodities. We're going to be going into non-English speaking countries. And then we're also going to be building various applications. So one thing I'm really excited about is an Excel add-in. So what clients will be able to do is they'll be able to download our add-in, subscribe to various licenses of content, and then everyone from the buy-side firm all the way to the individual investor will be able to access that same information at the same time. So it's not going to be a situation where the individual investor is being left behind anymore. They're not going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes behind the professional trader. They're going to have that same information at the same time.
Great. Joe, thank you so much for sitting down and meeting with me.
Well, thank you for having me. It was really enjoyable.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in learning more and connecting with Joe, go to fundology.com.